Hello and welcome on in to Hamilton Hawkeye Track here on CoverHawkSports.com. I'm Nate Dreyer tonight. I am joined alongside by Ben Koopman. And Ben, we are just underway here with the girls 4x800 meter relay, and really going to be an interesting match here between the Hawkeyes and the Dutch. As Hawkeyes, they're just starting around the corner here. What are some of the things you're looking for throughout the meet tonight and this race especially?
Well, speaking on this race especially, now that we're all got made up for the staggered start, Holland's got a pretty decent lead here to start. But in terms of the race, I think Hamilton's going to, the meet in general, I think Hamilton's going to be able to pull it out with a pretty large win for both the guys and the girls.
And you can see a fairly dominant start for each. Erica Freihoff crossing the line for the girls, and she has got a significant lead already. Same can be said on both ends of the boys as well. This is, a meet, you look at the Hawkeyes, this is a really strong team. They've been a strong team for a while. This is a team, obviously the state championships and that sort of idea is thrown around far too often a lot of times in sports. And, in terms of what their potential is, this is a team that may really have that sort of real potential.
Yep, and this race, for the guys, it's the number 3 ranked team in the conference is number 4, so it really could be anybody's race here. As they're running the third quarter now, Holland's got about 800-meter lead on Hamilton so far, as we now approach the third leg of the 4x8.
Now the key part of this, you want to look at the boys' side especially. It's about to go off to Mark Freihoff, and he is definitely the ace, to say the least, for the Hawkeyes at this point, as Freihoff does take over. And he'll look to make up this huge deficit that the Hawkeyes so far have as he starts his section.
Yep, he's already gaining back some distance here, but the real question is, will it be enough? And it's not looking like it, as we're already over halfway, and Holland's out with a pretty big lead.
And obviously a little bit, typically we see Matt Fielden. Your brother, Luke Koopman, was slotted in to run today, which the season best for this unit obviously was set with Field. That we'll see how much of a factor that could have played in this.
Yeah, they chose to use Field in a little bit different area tonight. Give him a little bit different matchup, better matchup in a couple of different races, so that's the reason behind that.
And obviously this isn't a match that's expected to be overly close in a lot of ways, so I think, or a meet that's supposed to be close in a lot of ways, so I think they're really just, as you said, looking to maybe find advantages in other places.
Yeah, and Pert and his stats, he's always going to find a way of where he can seize the advantage.
So Freihoff continuing on here, and he, as you mentioned, he has cut the gap slightly, but still has got quite a bit to try to make up.
Yep. Actually, Nate, I was mistaken. This is only we're not even quite to the halfway part. I was confused by the 4x4. So we're on lap number 3 now. So now they approach the third corner on lap 4. And there's about a 40-meter gap between Mark and Holland right now. So Mark's doing a great job. He's cut the lead in half so far. Hamilton's next runner-up is going to be Luke Koopman, and followed by Caleb Top after 800 meters.
And of course, you're going to get the pronunciation of Koopman right. You're always been on my case throughout basketball season that I couldn't get your name right, so we can at least have you in here to get Koopman correct for us, not Koopman.
Don't mistake, that is the one reason I am here.
That's right.
All right, now we get to the third exchange at the second exchange in the meet, and Koopman takes the baton from Mark, and both him and the Holland kid are going out strong, but hopefully Hamilton can make up the distance. On the girls' side of things, not Erica anymore. Audrey, too many Freihoffs, is now approaching the final turn here of her leg, and she's up quite substantially on the Holland girl by about 200 meters.
So around here, we continue to work our way through this 4x800. And as you mentioned, Luke Koopman trying to take over here, cut down that deficit. It'll be really interesting to see, after it was a poor start in a lot of ways for the Hawkeyes, if they can find a way to cut this back down and continue to look to make up the ground that they're looking to be able to regain here.
Yeah, and after one lap for Luke, he's been able to maintain the gap that Mark set. So
I mean, you look at both Freihoff and Koopman as arguably two of the top, if not the top two distance runners in a lot of ways in the conference. And I think that's obviously a great ace to have up your sleeve in this event to be able to continue to cut down that deficit. And we've seen that what was almost an entire corner at one point, Koopman's really been able to cut back down. See, Koopman.
Yes, for sure. On the other side of things for Hamilton, baseball games finishing up their game, and it's not been a good start for them as they finish up their game from the other night, and they gave up 6 runs already this inning, so that's bad news.
Other storylines, just as we'll kind of take a quick break from this race, moving ahead the rest of the night. You look at both John Deckinga and Franny Robinson expected to be out for the Hawkeyes tonight with different injuries. So you'll obviously have to therefore make adjustments as we see Koopman really starting to cut down that gap and create a race here as it goes off to Caleb Top for the Hawkeyes as we begin this final stage.
Sam Martin now with the baton for Holland.
And Top is right on as they head off into the first turn.
About 1 horse length apart, Nate.
And all that work that we mentioned, both from Freihoff and Koopman, is all going to come to fruition right here as Top's slowly able to cut in on that lead on Martin and look to make that pass at some point here in the near future.
They're staying neck and neck down the back stretch.
And this is where some of that depth in the distance may come in, as Top's able to make the pass and the Hawkeyes are able to complete what was quite the comeback. We'll see if Top can hang on for the rest of this one.
Yeah, that could be the one concern here. Maybe if Top went out too fast, which he came out real strong, so hopefully that wasn't too.
And Martin able to come
aggressive.
right back. So here we go. So now Top has 1 lap. We'll see where this one winds up, and was a very exciting finish here to the boys 4x800.
Good way to start the meet. 1 lap remaining.
Meanwhile, the Hamilton girls are ahead by such a large margin at this point that we obviously haven't even talked about them in a while. They're showing quite a level of dominance as the final handoff is made in that race. Meanwhile, Top has lost about a horse length, as you said, so far to Martin in this final stretch.
Yeah, then it looks like Caleb's not going to be able to pull this one off if this keeps up. He keeps falling.
And obviously, as you mentioned, when he came out so strong, trying to just run him down right away. And we now see Top falling behind. It looks like Holland may be able to take this first event of the day.
Mm-hmm. Next event up is going to be the 110 hurdles. And down the front straightaway, about a 20-meter gap between Holland and Hamilton, as Holland will get the first 5 points of the meet by winning the first relay.
So a solid effort by both Freihoff and Koopman trying to come back. Top able to take that lead briefly, but then faded. Martin's able to finish it off for the Dutch.
Girl side of things, Shania Talsma comes down the final stretch with about a 350-meter lead, and she'll finish. Pardon me, 1 lap to go. 1 lap to go with about 350-meter lead over Holland.
Final call, boys and girls high hurdles. Final call, boys and girls high hurdles.
As you may have been able to hear, they are starting now to call runners down for the hurdles. I mean, really just an interesting meet to see early as Holland's able to jump out and grab the early lead. And this has been a dominant Hawkeye team. Look at their last meet against Unity. They were able to take almost everything, only lost a couple of events. Similar dominance was probably expected out of tonight. But regardless, we will see what they can do coming off of this as we get ready to start heading into the hurdles, which are coming up next, obviously.
Yep, the hurdles look very favorable for the Hamilton boys. Even without dams so far in the early stretch of the season, Hamilton has 2 hurdlers in the top 10 in the conference, and Holland doesn't have any. So hopefully we can get some points back there.
And you look at on the boys' side, continuing that, this is an event that both teams kind of have struggled with throughout the year at times. But regardless, continue to look for some success there. The girls also expected to have a very strong showing in this upcoming event, Jenica Schaefer really has been leading the way in the hurdles so far this year for the girls.
Yeah, and then Autumn Hancock's ranked second, and they're quite far out in front of the rest of the pack with Holland having a runner ranked third. So hopefully that doesn't lead to an upset there.
I mean, dominant. I mean, you're talking over a second gap between Schaefer and the top rank for Holland, even third and so on for the Hawkeyes. So that's the sort of dominance that this girls track team especially has kind of shown in different events throughout the way on the track side so far.
Speaking of the dominance on the girls track side, this week it was announced that in the power rankings, the first power rankings of the year, Hamilton girls track is ranked second. So congrats to them, and hopefully they can keep that work up throughout the season. As Hamilton has now officially won the girls' third 200-meter relay.
And
as Holland finishes up here.
And you look at these programs, both the girls and the boys, the track programs, and the level of dominance they have been able to start to gather over the last few years really has been impressive. I mean, you go back to 2000, the girls' dual meet record is 102-17, and the boys is 97-22.
Yeah,
that's a winning percentage that you cannot argue with.
Yeah, and during that time, they've had one state championship and on the boys' side, and a team state championship on the girls' side, and then 4 runner-up on the team side for both for team between the two events. Going back to baseball, I misspoke earlier. Hamilton has actually scored 9 runs in the first inning. As now that we're home, it says guest on the scoreboard, but that's a continuation of Tuesday's game that was at Zeeland West. So Hamilton is home, and they are up 16-17 after scoring 9 runs in this inning. 16-7, pardon me. After scoring 9 runs to open this half of the day game.
So once again, final preparations here for the hurdles. Obviously, as you can see, the hurdles have been brought out as we're getting ready here for that event, and what is obviously a usually pretty quickly moving event here. Whenever we're at Hamilton, do a good job keeping things along, and hopefully, therefore, making our job easier so we have less filler. Although, thank you to Mr. Pertner, he has basically all the stats one could ever wish for. I'm a little overwhelmed, to be quite honest, with the amount of stats we have to deal with, and also thanks to your brother Luke Koopman, who helped put together some different stats and guidelines for us, so we can hopefully sound a little bit smarter than what we actually are with our track knowledge.
Yep, we like to call Luke Pert Jr.
So going ahead here, so as we mentioned, hurdles about to get underway. They have them lined up, and in just a second here, we will get ready to roll.
Guns up.
And we'll just sit back and let the pictures illustrate this race.
Nolan DeYoung is in the center lane for the Hawkeyes, and he's already off to a good start. Oh, trouble on the straightaway for DeYoung as he falls down over the 4th set of hurdles. And luckily, Blood for the Hawkeyes will finish first yet after Nolan falling with a substantial lead. So it looked like Hamilton in 1 with Blood, followed by Holland, and then after that was Trenton Lane for Hamilton.
And obviously, interestingly, you see Nolan DeYoung, Trevor Blood fairly close to each other. DeYoung obviously with the I guess what is a somewhat substantial lead for that race over Blood, but a solid job by Blood. Make sure he picked up the pieces, if you would, there after DeYoung had his early stumble.
They now reset the hurdles for the girls' 100-meter hurdles. The guys run 110 meters, the girls only run 100 meters. And they lower them and slide them up a little bit, and so that race will be next for the girls. And as we touched on earlier, Schaefer and Hancock are ranked 1-2.
So here's a little thing for your commentator. We're trying to get Jenica to 3-step the whole flight of highs. It's been challenging for her. And Autumn too a little bit.
So if you just could hear that, Coach Berner just came through, and he obviously has far more wisdom with tracking what's happening there. Looking maybe for a little bit different strategy, trying to get Jenica Schaefer to continue to push what is already that dominant time for her. And
3 steps between each hurdle.
As she's looking to take 3 steps between each hurdle, look to try to do that to continue to improve what is already, obviously a dominant lead she seems to have over everyone. And just that sort of improvement is probably what can help mark such a solid program as has been built up here in Hamilton over the last few years. Once again, you are listening and watching to Covering Hawkeye Sports coverage of Hamilton track and field. Both the girls and boys taking on the Holland Dutch here tonight. Nate Dreyer, Ben Koopman on the call. We've got Zeb Wilson helping out with some other stats and also running our cameras, producing the whole thing. Thank you, Zeb.
And eating lots of good food.
Someone has to do it.
All right, now as the starter checks the final set of hurdles, Autumn Hancock looks to be in lane 1, and Jenica Schaefer in lane 3.
So Schaefer with a average, or so far at 17.14 on the year, Hancock 17.44, and we'll see if they're able to find something close to those times and be able to take over this event. We're down and set in just a moment. We'll get this one underway. We are off, and right away you can see the Hawkeyes starting to take the lead with Hancock and Schaefer. Schaefer then able to gain that early advantage. Right in that middle lane, Schaefer able to gain a couple of steps over everyone.
Hancock drops to third behind Riley from Holland. And they'll finish Schaefer, Riley, Hancock, and then followed by 2 Hamilton. Boys coach Spots is very thrilled with that performance.
You would expect absolutely nothing less out of him, as now we get the real speed coming in. The boys' 100-meter dash. We will not have Usain Bolt running tonight, so we'll have a little bit more time to talk to you during this race. We'll have about 11 and a half seconds instead of, what's he at? Is he sub 9 now?
Yes.
He is sub 9 now. My knowledge continues to just spew.
However, we do have Matt Field, which is the next best thing.
Absolutely. So those runners now slowly starting to work their way out. And Ben, you look at the boys' 100-meter, and you mentioned Matt Field coming to this event, as you also mentioned kind of the shakeups. What are some of those different shakeups you may mention? What sort of roles do you think those could potentially play into the rest of the day as the Hawkeyes look to maybe pick up points in places where you may typically not see them do so?
Well, we moved them around a little bit, and so we previously didn't have him running some of the sprint relays, which he's been pretty good in. And with John Deckinga out tonight with an injury, we were able to move him into some of the events that we usually have John in. And so just to help the team out in that situation.
One of the key X factors in this is Matt Field is going to be able to run the 400 tonight, which has kind of been one of his signature events going back. And he'll look probably to build on that, look to put in a strong performance there tonight. That's still obviously a ways down the road as we are getting ready for each of the 100-meter dashes still coming up here in the near future. Now, one of the questions is, Franny Robinson, is she an official scratch for the night? She was listed as a potential scratch in some of our notes. Not sure she'll be going, but that would be an X factor on the girls' side if she is unable to go tonight.
Yeah, she has been on undisclosed injury, so we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Especially a big loss in the field events.
And as you may have been able to pick up, Zeb saying that is especially a huge event, a huge loss in terms of the field events, as that is where Franny, especially with the throwing events, just can absolutely dominate for the Hawkeyes. She was able to sweep both the shot put and the discus at the last meet.
Interesting enough, also a 100-meter dash, and you don't see that every day, where the winner of some of the throwing events is also the winner of the 100-meter dash. So she's a very versatile athlete.
And if we do see Franny out, it's not going to be Denasia Dornak for Holland. She'll be able to just run away with this thing. Franny really the one that's been able to maybe have a time that can compete there. But we'll see regardless. Maybe Autumn Hancock can make a run. Will be very interesting to see. That's kind of part of the unknown, and we'll continue to look for that.
The current score of the meet here early is, in the boys' side, it's 8-6 Holland, and on the girls' side, it's 11-3 Hamilton. All right, just into the booth here. Ryan Tosman claims victory in the shot put with 45 feet and a quarter inch. So there's 5 more points for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, and we will not have complete coverage of the track event, or the field events, I should say, in that fashion, but we will be getting you the results of what's taking place throughout the evening as we are able to have that become available.
And also in the shot put, Seth Burris finished third.
So fairly strong performance there. Hawkeyes able to slip 2 in the top 3. That obviously can affect your score, and we can update that in a moment.
With that, Hamilton moves up 11-12.
Now, also looking ahead, we'll get to the in just a moment, we'll get to those storylines, as the boys are just about underway for the 100 meter. And it's Quinn Peelman-Kuhn able to jump out to an early lead. Shaman Chanel also racing it alongside him.
Seamus Chanel in the lead, and it looks like it might finish Holland 1-2. Was Chanel and
I believe it was Cervantes that was able to also stretch in there. Really tight race all along there.
With Keeman Kuhn and DeCam in third and fourth.
Holland High School with a time of 8:46.1. That would be Martins, Carter, Mizowitz, and Hoffman from Holland. Results of the girls' 3,200 meter relay in first place, Hamilton.
So, you look at that 100 meter dash and you see Jeremiah DeCam, obviously, as you mentioned, finishing back a little bit. He was kind of the favorite. He typically is in the 11:42 region. We see Chanel usually coming in the 11:68 region, so probably not the strongest effort. We'll get the numbers later, but probably not DeCam's strongest effort. Chanel probably able to run a solid race, and we continue to see Holland able to steal a couple points that probably weren't expected to steal early in this one.
Yep, for all of you basketball fans that listen to Covering Hawkeye Sports, Chanel is also a point guard for the Holland High School Dutch basketball team. He usually comes off the bench.
Yeah, obviously, looking back, he had quite the game going back, especially the game against you guys in Holland. High effort player, along with Dylan Unk. They really, I think, had 3 or 4 instances when I would have to make the call that they were jawing at each other once again. Those two perfect fit for each other as the girls are about ready to get going here.
It's actually the
boys again.
Second heat of the boys.
Second heat of the boys again.
The way track works, the first heat is the scoring heat, and after that it's just exhibition. So this has really no impact on the outcome of the meet, but looks like Hamilton's going to win it.
That's going to be the last time tonight I speak before actually looking at what I'm talking about. I just lost any trust anyone that's ever had listening to like one of my basketball broadcasts. I don't make stuff up, seriously.
That's why you finished second. So it looks like baseball has officially won the second game of their doubleheader from Tuesday night. That's been continued over here tonight. So that gives them 2 wins here in conference. So now the second game is about ready to get underway. Now for the third heat of the boys in 110 hurdles. Not 110 hurdles, 100 meter dash, pardon me.
So we're lined up, third heat underway here. And now we can kind of continue to look to preview the girls' 100 meters. One of the X factors to look at is Annika Ediger expected to run this race with some of those injuries that were mentioned previously. She's never run this race. Obviously, therefore, an X factor. We have no idea what can be expected from her in a situation such as this one.
Yeah, that's for sure. But Annika's a pretty good athlete, so she should be able to handle herself.
Maybe can look to steal a couple points. I mean, it's definitely, especially on the boys' side, probably not quite the start many had expected out of this one. I mean, a couple events that you wouldn't necessarily call sure things for the Hawkeyes. They may have not had their best performances so far. I mean, the 100-meter dash part of that, weren't able to get their points there. And they'll have to look to continue to improve from there and try to maybe find their game, find their stride from here on out.
One thing about that, Nate, is a couple of the earlier events here is more reliant on more of the sprints, and Hamilton tends to do better in some of the longer races, and we haven't had our best athletes out there yet, so I think Hamilton's still got a lot to look forward to.
So the fourth heat here for the boys. This is an all-Hamilton heat underway.
Hamilton finishes 1 through 4.
Yes, as the Hawkeyes are able to sweep this one. Now we can finally get ready here for the first of the girls' sprints.
Final call, 800-meter relay. Final call, 800-meter relay.
This is a race. Both teams bring solid athletes here. It'll really be an interesting one to watch going ahead.
This would be a good one to see if Franny is out there.
We have results of the high hurdle.
It appears that Franny Robinson is not running this one.
So obviously, therefore, Hawkeyes losing their quickest in this event. That, I mean, clearly that's a huge X factor. Pretty easy to find X factors such as that one. We're set, and in just a moment we'll get underway.
And a false start is called. When you hear the gun twice, that signals a false start.
Ben Koopman bring you the ins and outs of track and field. So going ahead, and obviously you have this. What made that? I kind of wonder how that may get in the head of an athlete if there is a false start, depending on what your start may have been. I guess I can ask you as a basketball player, not quite sure how that may be able to. If you came out right off and took 2 fouls, I guess, and were right back on the bench. Not that that ever happened.
Well, pretty much. I'm a former track star myself from back to 7th grade. So, basically, it really doesn't affect you. You might be a little bit slower to start because if you get a second false start, you're disqualified. Anybody on this one, if they false start, it's automatic disqualification. So it might be a little bit of slower of reaction time here as people don't want to jump the gun. Looks like we got a clean start on this one.
And we talked about Holland being able to dominate this event. That will absolutely happen here.
With Dornack running away with it, followed by Hancock. And it looks like Holland finished 3rd.
So a couple tight races, or a tight race further back there, but a pretty dominant victory. A couple more points up on the board for the Dutch as they look to crawl back into this one here after they went down early against the Hawkeyes. Now 14-9 Hamilton.
Unofficial scoring.
Unofficial scoring very early on here.
So the next event up is going to be the 800-meter relay. On the guys' side of things, they have Trent Peters, Matt Field, Charlie Doda, and Jeremiah DeCam. This is a number 1 ranked team in the state when these 4 run together. So we expect a really good outing out of this as we finish up a couple more heats of girls.
Yeah, this unit's season best is almost 3 seconds faster than the season best for Holland. They did that with Deckinga instead of Peters running it, but I mean, there's almost nothing really in a lot of ways to choose between those two.
Yeah, they're both tremendous athletes and can run about as fast as as humanly possible. Seems like at their age level.
So, I mean, for that reason, this is one that probably not necessarily expecting the closest event. Still have got a couple of girls' heats to go through with 100 meters, but we can continue to preview both the 4x2 on the boys and the girls' side here.
Yep, and Hamilton's 4x4 and 800 meter relay team is going to be Autumn Hancock, Shania Tasma, Sophie Pohl, Emily Woodkey, and Jennifer Schaefer. Pardon me, Sophie Pohl is not in that.
And once again, this is one you want to talk about the gap for the boys. This is when you look on the girls' side. Their season best is right now sitting at a 152.9. The best that Holland, I should say, has been able to put together is a 159.8. So you look on the girls' side of the 4x2, and I think you really can expect a lot of dominance there. Each of these races should be able to easily go towards the Hawkeyes, but we've already seen some struggles so far on the day for the Hawkeyes, mostly on the boys' side, of maybe picking up those points that we had expected for them to be able to automatically get in. Aren't necessarily the sure things that one may have thought they would be.
We got one more heat of the girls' 100 meter dash here, and then we'll move on to the 4x2.
So a couple, in a lot of ways, we're now starting to slowly get into, I guess, a little bit more distance in some ways. A couple maybe crucial events, especially on the boys' side, starting to pick up now as they look to maybe get some of those points rolling and cut down on this early unofficial deficit that they now have, that they're now facing. Obviously, the track or the field events also can play into where we're looking right now. As this final heat, once again, All Holland, second straight All Holland heat, is underway for the girls, and we will now fully get ready for each of the 4x200s. Yes, 4x200s.
Yeah, watching this 4x2 relay at Zealand West the other night, they ran away with it, and it was really not very close at all. So hopefully we can see the same thing here tonight. When Matt Field takes that baton, it's over pretty much. He has a really good first step.
5 minutes after the conclusion of the 800 relay. Quinn from Hamilton, De La Rosa from Holland, Chanel from Holland, and Waymake from Holland.
See all the activities continuing around this entire area. Really, Hamilton, this last one said maybe a different, whether it's the bond issue or whatever with, the state of the track. But still, I mean, Hamilton always draws what for track may be and can be considered a pretty good crowd, and what is a proud program, as we've kind of mentioned on multiple times now. All around, Hawkeyes looking to pick up a couple more points here in just a second. Boys will look to get this 4x2 underway. And as Ben had mentioned just a moment ago, it is Matt Field that is the X factor in this, and his speed. Trenton Peters also has a quick split. Charlie Doe and Jeremiah DeCam. There's really almost nothing separating a lot of these guys, but that first step for Field can make a huge difference. And will serve as that X factor. We'll see if Hawkeyes can put together what they want to. They're obviously, as I said, they have about 3 seconds or so on the Dutch, as that group of Dante Jones, Gabe Brockington, Mateo Cervantes, and Chase Wyman-Hafler will work their way out.
Yep. Looks like Charlie Doden will be the first leg, followed by Jeremiah DeCam, then Trent Peters, and then Matt Field.
So those groups starting to work their way out, and we will in just a minute get this 4x200 underway. Once again, thanks for joining us here on CoverHawkSports.com. Nate Dreyer, Ben Koopman with you. As we're bringing you coverage here of Hamilton and Holland, a really interesting track meet thus far. We've seen Holland on the boys' side steal a couple of points from Hamilton that you may have not expected. The girls have been able to basically dominate the way that one may have expected in a lot of ways so far. They were unable to take the 100 meter dash, but besides that, the girls have really, been able to run away. That started right away at the first event of the day. Just, pretty solid dominance here on the track side. As we will in just a minute get this 4x200 meter relay underway.
Guns up. We're underway. For all of you that are new to the track, watching this, there's a staggered start. So seeing Hamilton already pass Holland here, that's a really good sign, as they already made up the distance from the stagger.
Really strong start by Doden. As they look to transfer onto Matt Field here. And this is probably exactly what the Hawkeyes want to see, as they are just absolutely pulling away very early on in this thing. You can really see that speed comparison with Field, who is able to just absolutely take over as he looks to move on to Peters here.
The JV doesn't really matter for this event, but as you can see, Hamilton JV is beating Holland at this point.
So Peters working his way around. In just a minute, he'll get on to DeCam, and the Hawkeyes look to finish off what's been a very dominant 4x200s thus far. And there's the final passing of the baton. DeCam takes over. He'll head off into the third turn and look to bring it in.
Yep, with no drops, it looks like Hamilton will be able to easily handle this race. We talked about scoring earlier. The way scoring works, first place gets 5, second place gets 3, and third place gets 1. And then in relay events, first gets 5 and second gets 0. So it's really crucial to win these relays like Hamilton just did with Jeremiah DeCam finishing a good 60 meters ahead of the competition.
Yeah, by my very unofficial count, that's almost 6-7 seconds he was able to beat him by. Just a solid effort all around by that group, as the Hawkeyes are now able to get back on track after failing to maybe grab the full points that they would have thought they could have taken in some of those first events. But that's a group, as you said, top ranked in the state. You can expect them to come through in a moment such as that one.
Yep, they're also the top ranked 4x4 team, so we'll see that later as well.
So momentarily we'll see the girls start setting up, and we'll get ready to do the exact same thing again with them. And as mentioned, if that first one was a blowout in a lot of ways, the Hamilton girls have got about a 7 or 8 second advantage on the season best over Holland heading into this thing. So if things break the same way once again, this could become a very dominant finish.
Yep, so the way 4x2 works is each athlete runs 200 meters in the handoff in both the south corner here by the entrance and towards the baseball field. And it's the only way you can get disqualified really is if you drop your baton. And yeah.
And looking into the girls, just kind of some of our insight. This is the first time freshman Shyla Thompson has run, or Talisman has run this event. Obviously, you kind of wonder how that may play into things. But still, she has throughout the year she's shown well in distance events. Has a good handoff. I think you can probably expect her still to just be able to slot right into a team that's dominated throughout the year.
Yeah, well, obviously, Pertner has his plans, and he wouldn't have put her in this event if he didn't feel that she could handle it.
So we are still just waiting on the start of this thing, starting to get it underway, each side lining up, and we will be able to get you action once again in just a minute. We do have baseball back underway, also on the other side of things, you can see in the distance possibly.
All right. The starter makes his way. We got white flags flying, which is the sign that everybody is ready.
So here we go, start of what could be an interesting 4x200 here on the girls' side. I expect if you look at the numbers to be able to dominate this thing a lot of ways, but a couple lineup changes, so on. As we see Thompson come in for the Hawkeyes, and you never quite know where things may go from here. So, just a moment, we will get underway.
All right, we got a delay.
Thanks for bearing with us tonight through this. We're trying to figure out what's going on. At times, it seems like just as you are. And regardless, we don't have word exactly on what the holdup is here, but we should be able to get things underway in just a moment.
All right, guns up.
And we'll finally get this one underway. And to mention the staggered start, tough to tell early exactly where things may be.
It's interesting here. Hamilton electing to run their varsity team in one of the outmost lanes closer to their JV team. You don't see that very often.
Once again, you can kind of see the speed differential between a varsity and a JV team there. In a lot of ways, is that some of that staggered start just easily made up early on.
As Woodkey takes the handoff in the backstretch. Here comes Woodkey past the booth here as she will hand to Autumn Hancock.
A lot of events early on the day already for Hancock, and she'll look to deliver some points here in one more, as the Hawkeyes have a fairly significant advantage at this point in time.
Yep, it's kind of hard to tell with the staggered, but Hamilton's about up 40 to 50 meters.
And Hancock is able to expand on that as well as she's made her way through this run.
Hand off to the final leg here. Sophie Poole.
So this event mostly going the way the Hawkeyes probably would have expected it to, as they'll be able to bring home a fairly easy victory. Actually, it's not Poole, it's Jenica Schaefer. So we see even more shakeups in the Hawkeye lineup in this one, as they have just been experimenting, maybe seeing who can run best in what events, where can they move pieces around to try to get the best lineup possible.
That's what I was trying to do before we started, but I wasn't able to get it.
All right, the next event of the night is going to be the 600 meter run, which is an event that both the boys and girls run together for time's sake. So it'll be just like the first event. On the guys' side of things, out front by far is going to be Mark Freihoff, and followed by Nick Hoffman and Sam Martins from Holland, and then Luke Coleman from Hamilton will be behind them. We are not sure if Nick Hoffman's going to be here. Apparently he had a school play to get to, so he was going to leave sometime during tonight's meet. So it'll be interesting to see if he's in the lineup here or not.
And the interesting note with Freihoff last meet, he really struggled in terms of, look at where his normal season is, and he still barely lost a thing. So that's the sort of dominance he can have, is he can have a completely off day and still be incredibly competitive with everyone else.
Yep, and Mark Freihoff on the girls' side of things, his sisters are 1-2 here, and Hamilton Chanel Zal is in third, so hopefully Hamilton can sweep that on the girls' side of things.
Look at as you mentioned, the Freihoffs. You look at the Freihoff family as a whole, and they've built up quite a legacy of being able to run very quickly while wearing Hamilton colors. While here, and look to build on that. Each team getting set, and we'll get underway here with the 1600 meters.
So the way the 1600 meters works, they have a staggered start, and when they make it around the back corner, the fourth corner, then they can all cut in and run in the inside lane. And with that staggered start, Mark's already caught up to the Holland Holland kids that started ahead of him. That looks like Sam Martin out front for Holland, battling with Mark neck and neck.
So we'll be Fryhoff and Martins here, who will go head to head, and Fryhoff will slowly work on getting by there and probably looking to pull away with this one and try to take yet another victory for both himself and the Hawkeyes.
So now they reached turn 4 here, and Mark with a decent lead here, followed by Hamilton runners Luke Koopman and Caden O'Brien. And Nick Hoffman was a scratch for this event, so that gives Hamilton a little bit of a boost.
As you can see right now, they have got 3 of those top 4 spots as they are looking to pull away. Still, Martin's right in on Fryhoff early.
Yeah, these two have been able to battle a few times. Martin's only being a freshman, but they've seen each other twice already on the cross country side of things. So they both know that each other are both extremely talented.
Fryhoff also, maybe Fryhoff's just plain when he wants to actually race with someone today. Mark wouldn't do that. Regardless, Fryhoff is still holding that advantage right now as he's looking to bring this home. Koopman and O'Brien still holding on to that 3rd and 4th spot for the Hawkeyes.
Yep, as we're about at the 700-meter mark. On the girls' side of things, I guess they decided to run this event separately for boys and girls. You need both coaches' consent to run both boys and girls together. So Holland must have chose not to because Hamilton likes to run them both together for Erica to be able to keep pace with somebody.
And that may have been part of the reasoning, is they may have not wanted Erica passing many of their boy competitors on the Holland side.
As she usually does.
Able to compete with some of the strongest boy runners. Meanwhile, after Martin's cutting that gap a little bit, Fryhoff starting to take a bit of an edge once again.
Yeah, and they're starting to pull away from the rest of the pack here. Their season times are only about 4 seconds apart, so we didn't expect that big of a victory by Mark. But between them two and the rest of the pack, we were expecting a pretty good gap, and that's starting to show. With 1-2, Sam Martins and Mark, and then Luke Koopman and Caden O'Brien for Hamilton weighs it back, followed by one of Holland's runners, and then another big gap.
And your brother Luke Koopman is starting to stretch his advantage as well, looking pretty set at this point in 3rd, assuming he doesn't fall or anything. I don't think that really happens.
Yeah, he does have the Koopman genes, so he is kind of clumsy at times. All right, now with 3 laps done, Fryhoff still holding his 1 horse length lead over Martins.
Koopman now also just getting ready to start his final lap. Meanwhile, we have Cervantes starting to catch O'Brien and may actually pass him as we head into their final lap of this race.
But as I mentioned earlier, the top 3 is what counts. So, although that's not exactly what Hamilton wants to happen, it won't really affect the outcome of this meet. As Mark now approaches lap traffic and Blue O's are right by them, and he's approaching the final turn as he really starts to stride it out and busts his lead wide open against Martin.
So he was just toying with him. I actually had it right. Even when I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm right.
He's now about 20 meters ahead as he approaches 50 meters to go.
So Fryhoff able to, in the 1600 meter, get by a lot of Holland's runners and come up with yet another dominant victory.
As he takes the checkered flag. With Martins finishing 2nd. And looks on the final 80 meters here, and he will finish 3rd.
So Koopman jeans and all, he's able to bring it in 3rd here, as the incredibly proud brother marks down the point total.
Unofficial scoring so far puts Hamilton out 2 points, 24-22 here in early action.
So we actually still have got almost a lap here to finish off with many of the runners, as Fryhoff and Martins were able to bring it in well ahead of everyone else. And we can now continue to preview the girls as they get ready for their 1600 meter. And
Yeah.
I'm assuming Erica Freihoff is a fairly safe bet here, being that she's a good 30 seconds ahead of everyone else on the season.
Yeah, really no competition to preview here. Freihoff ranked number 1 in the state with 5 minutes, 11 seconds at her time. 31 seconds ahead of her sister. Another 10 seconds to the next runner, and to the first Holland runner, she's up over a minute. So really, no problem here for the Hawkeyes. As we wait for the last couple runners here to finish the 1600 meter run.
Always interesting to watch. Part of the track. Obviously, a lot of waiting in between some strenuous moments. Always interesting to watch. Pretty consistent warm-ups to some degree going on. Very similar to what you did during basketball season, trying to join in on different student section chants. Make sure you had the crowd fired up as you went. The Civic Center comes to mind there, where you tried to take over.
Yeah, there isn't really quite as much an atmosphere here, though. So.
Still, obviously, I'm new to track, and you probably have a little bit more knowledge over it. But still, I think Hamilton, as always, typically able to draw somewhat, positive crowds. Pretty good amounts of people here to watch the Hawkeyes, and I mean, really, because this is one of the, if not the most dominant program Hamilton has at this point in time.
That is for sure. Yeah, guns up for the girls' 1600 meter run as Holland only has 1 runner and Hamilton has 5.
That is Taylor Connor, the lone runner for Holland, as Erica Freihoff has already completely made up that staggered start, and she'll look to pull away from everyone else. This should be a fairly easy one to call, one would think.
Yeah, well, she's already up a good 20 meters on the rest of the pack. Or should I say on her sister.
We have results of the boys long jump. In 3rd place, Chanel from Holland. 2nd place, Quinn from Hamilton. 1st place, Wayne Hafter from Holland, with a jump of 19 feet 11 inches.
Meanwhile, Holland able to take 1st and 3rd in the long jump event. Quinn Kielmung-Kuhn slipping in the middle there. Of that is Wayman Kaffler came away with the victory for the Dutch. Wayman Kaffler also spending time at tailback. If you listen back to any of our broadcasts over here during football season, so back on a field where he experienced some success here in the fall. As Erica Freihoff is now up by a lot. That's the official term for this.
Yep, you can't measure that distance in horse lengths. 3 laps remaining for the rest of the pack.
It really is, and same thing with Mark watching him pull away at the end. It is fairly incredible how that Freihoff family and the dominance they have seen in anything to do with track or cross country. Obviously, Erica is state champion in cross country, but their ability in these events is just really incredible. And the fact that we see Audrey come in and she's been able to pick up right along the lines with the others and the mark they've set, it really is fairly impressive, and that's really just great filler material as Freihoff continues to just add to that lead, and no slowing down for her at this point.
That's for sure. She's almost up 100 meters at this point, and she's not letting up. On the baseball field, both teams escaped the first inning with 1 hit and no runs.
As you can see on the bottom of the screen, we have some of the different MIPA results here from the Michigan Interscholastic Press Association. They had their awards today. We were there. Maybe a fairly strong day for Hamilton. We were able to pick up pretty strong finishes throughout. A couple little things, that some of us may not be happy with, and different things that we'll have to address going forward. Obviously, one of the big ones, first place in infographics. So Luke Koopman picked up a big win there today.
Yeah, he can run and he can do infographics, so that's pretty impressive.
So that is basically, and he came up with a note. So that's essentially what Luke can do for Hamilton. I don't know, is there anything else he would probably tell us to say right now? Now we're just having a Luke Koopman in the middle of the girls' 1,600 meter.
Going along with the MIPL results, we're very pleased to announce that our very own Nate Dreyer, who's joined right here alongside me, was named All-State Journalist. So congrats to him, and very impressive. He put in a lot of hard work, and we're all very proud of his accomplishment.
Absolute honor, obviously. I mean, yes, I have put in a lot of work, and it's been one of my ultimate goals, and it's really just great to be in that light and be able to experience that success. Only I was able to pick up a couple more wins elsewhere, just to completely leave behind that humbleness I really had rolling there.
All right, with one lap remaining, Erica is exactly up by 100 meters.
Audrey Freihoff just getting ready now to cross the line here in second as Erica has almost a full turn.
With 13 feet, something inches. Holland took first and second.
Zal also coming across here in that dominant run for the Hawkeyes. As you mentioned, Connor the only runner here for the Dutch. She'll finally cross the line as we see Freihoff already starting to work her way off here into the third turn.
We have results from the long jump. Hamilton was able to finish third, and Holland finished in
was third?
First and second on the girls' side of things.
On the go.
So a couple more points there from Holland.
And Coach Pertman giving his constant intensity to the runners as here comes Freihoff to cross the line, not quite able to lap anyone in this performance, but still able to dominantly pull away from the rest of the pack and pick up an easy win for the Hawkeyes there.
We heard Pert yelling, but that's because Erica was nearing her personal best, and based on Pert's reaction, I don't think she quite got it.
Second place is just now crossing the line.
So we are now just getting Audrey Freihoff across the line. So we were able to make that entire point. As Audrey finally crosses, Erica probably went home, was able to come back. And we finally see Freihoff cross. Now Zal across as well. And the Hawkeyes will wrap up a clean sweep of this event.
Very impressive. Updating scoring for the girls' side, including long jump and the 1,600 meter run. Hamilton's up 29-17.
So next up we have the 4x100 meter relay. This is obviously where you see a lot of the speed starting to come in, and this also is where we're going to have a really interesting matchup on the boys' side of things. Holland's season record 45.54, Hamilton's season record 45.84. Done with a different lineup than what they're bringing out tonight, or expected to bring out tonight. But
yeah, I think the switch was they switched Deckinger out because of his injury and brought in Quinn. But Quinn has a very good 100 time, so there shouldn't be too big of a drop off.
Well, and you look at part of those changes, you see Field and Doden brought into it, and they bring a lot of speed to this. And for that reason, it actually should probably give them the advantage in a lot of ways over Holland. This could be the top time we've seen Hamilton maybe put out so far this year in this event, as they have maybe kind of their ace lineup in a lot of ways. The nuclear option, if you would, kind of put together for this event is Kielman-Kuhn, DeCam, Field, and Doden are expected.
Yeah, Hamilton's looking to put out a state qualifying, regional qualifying time, hopefully, or maybe state with this group. So hopefully this new lineup can do that.
So group starting to work their way out here, as we'll see them start to take their places, and in just a moment we will get this 4x100 out. Holland putting one team in, Hamilton will have their JV squad getting ready to roll as well.
Is Quinn starting right there? Is he the first light?
Looks like it should be Quinn Kielman-Kuhn starting it off here for the Hawkeyes. See what sort of edge he can gain early on here. Looks like he'll then go to DeCam. We'll give it to Doden, and then we'll see the ever quick Matt Field look to bring it in here for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, really strong final 3 for Hamilton. Not taking anything away from Quinn, but DeCam, Doden, and Field have been really impressive in almost every race this season and have outperformed expectations along the way.
And this is about as quick of an event and as exciting an event in a lot of ways as you may see today. Obviously, the 100-meter dash maybe rivaling that. But in just a moment, when we get underway, this should definitely be an exciting one. Make sure you're sitting down for it, or I guess if you want to stand up, just be ready, because this is going to be some serious excitement. Trust me. I also made bold predictions like that throughout the basketball season, that it was going to come down to the last possession, and then things went one way or the other. So actually, while it may not necessarily be there to listen to me, please listen to me this time. I definitely know what I'm talking about, as I've proven throughout the night.
Set.
Thank goodness it's starting. I can stop talking.
Guns up.
And here we go. Keomunkun, as mentioned, will get things going for the Hawkeyes, starting from that far back lane, and already just kind of keeping that gap maybe where it was from the staggered start, closing it just a bit.
As he hands it to Cam. Got a nice clean handoff and able to pick up some room on that handoff.
And here comes DeCam, already trying to close that gap. Handoff to
Doden takes the handoff, and he is able to pass Holland on the backstretch.
Solid job right there by Doden as he's looking to pull ahead. He'll give off the final handoff here in just a moment to Field. And Field easily pulls away. Dominant effort it winds up being for the Hawkeyes.
Really impressive there, as they were not expected to win this one based on the numbers, but with a couple changes, Hamilton was able to pull it off. So,
as mentioned, maybe bring in the nuclear lineup if you would, and that was really a strong effort. I mean, that Doden Field finishing combo really can be impressive. And we will, really that's impressive. We'll have the 400-meter dash once again coming up after this for Field as he looks to continue a strong day.
Now we move to the girls' side of things with the 4x1. Hamilton's team is Poole, Woodkey, Autumn Hancock, and we have listed here Franny Robinson, but with her not being in, we moved to Caitlin Harper, who's only a freshman.
So those groups now will start to work their way out, and we'll get yet another 4x100 underway in just a moment. Really exciting. I told you it would be exciting. See the Hawkeyes really pull off a strong effort. I mean, that Doden Field, as mentioned, able to finish it. You see Field really able to run away in his final 100 meters. As the Hawkeyes are able to take a strong effort, or able to take that strong performance, turn into a couple more points early on here, or about midway through.
Interesting note here. This is a different lineup for Hamilton too from previous, and this is all their best sprinters. We haven't seen a lineup this stacked for Hamilton so far this year. So, and they're already, even with the team they had before, they were supposed to win. So hopefully they're able to pull away pretty strong here.
So CHS's own Caleb Top able to bring in the starting blocks there for Holland, and they'll look to start to get things set up here and take off in just a minute.
You want to talk about sportsmanship? We have 2 Hamilton runners holding down the starting blocks for Holland. You don't see that in every sport. Now the gun's up, runner set. We got a misfire on the starter.
So after we get this figured out, we will once again look to get underway.
Going back to the baseball action, both teams remain scoreless after 2.
And Hamilton's season record, as mentioned, different lineup. They can go around 53.2. Holland's season record is 55.5. But a little bit faster lineup in a lot of ways for the Hawkeyes. So they should be able to take this one. Whistle goes. Gun goes up, and we will get ready to get underway here.
Runner set.
And we are underway. 3 Holland teams to just the 1 Hamilton team here, but
Hamilton looks to already be running away with it.
Second place from Hamilton, Audrey Freihoff. In first place from Hamilton, Erica Freihoff.
as you can see, hand up to
Woodkey on the back stretch, and she's able to really stride it out and make the pass on Holland after the staggered start. She hands it Autumn Hancock.
Hancock. Look to stretch that lead here.
Oh, we do have Franny in. She missed her first event, but she is running this event.
So Robinson gets that final handoff, so to bring things in, and it looks like the Hawkeyes will, between the boys and girls, be able to sweep the 4x100 meter relay. So Franny brings that one in, and the Hawkeyes, as mentioned, able to sweep these 2 events, and we will move on into the 400 meter dash in just a moment.
Interesting story about Franny. She was actually on the Holland track team last year, and she was one of their best runners. So, kind of like a pretty good rivalry here for her then, probably.
Solid free agent signing for the Hawkeyes, if you would. Compared to Marion Hossa going to the Blackhawks back in 2010, helping lead that first line.
Who cares?
So as we get ready now for the 400 meter dash, Matt Field, he has not run the 400, but he is very quick here. Obviously, he's ranked number 1 in the OK Green. When he does go, this is definitely a place where we can probably see Field try to really stretch things.
Looking to go sub 51, maybe even sub 50.
Once again, if you hear that, Field looking to go sub 51, maybe sub 50. That was Zeb Wilson chiming in. He has stats, and he will be on the production of the event, or has been on the production of the event tonight.
Yeah,
and always a good commentary.
With that, the state qualifying time last year was 51 seconds. So time hasn't quite been set for this year. But if he can get in that 51 second range, he should qualify for state.
And also, you look at Trenton Peters also being able to run away. This is an event that we will probably see the Hawkeyes run away. Doden is the top foreign runner in the OK Green, not running today. So that kind of helps show the depth the Hawkeyes have. They can essentially just put in whoever they want and have a time that will just dominate and blow people away in these sorts of events. Basically 400 and up, you can expect them to be pretty solid as the whistle goes, and we will get ready here. Field on that innermost lane. And we are underway, or second innermost lane for Field.
Field and Peters. And Peters are 3 of Hamilton's runners. That's Austin and Trent Peters.
Obviously, you can see Trent will take that early advantage from his position. Field also will look to close that gap. And right away, as you mentioned, the dominance of Hamilton. That showing is even some of Hamilton's JV runners, because of that staggered start, they'll be overtaken here in the third. But the Hawkeyes really able to run away and dominate this event between Peters and Field right now. It seems like this may not be Field's strongest performance at this point. We'll see if Peters can maybe take him here as Field look to make one final push in.
As they're neck and neck almost as they approach the finish line. And Fields looks like he got the victory over Trenton down the stretch.
There's one of your tighter finishes of the day. Field will be interesting to see those times come in. Not sure if Field may have been 100% on his quickest time. May have expected a little bit stronger performance out of him. Usually has Peters by about a second or more. So that'll be interesting to see once we can maybe get that and look into that more.
Unofficial scoring now is 30-30 in on the boys' side of things. Now for the girls 400-meter dash, we finally see Holland seeded to win one of these. Lily Grant from Holland has is tied for the best time here with Hamilton's Shea Havernick, followed by Brittany Driesinga from Hamilton, and Kronemeyer from Holland. Nate, you can have your shot at pronouncing her first name.
Cecilia? That's not even that tough, dude. We're underway here with the second heat of the boys all Hamilton heat here. I have a feeling Hamilton will be able to take this one.
I apologize. I do not have the best pronunciation and spelling skills.
This is completely off the rails now.
I do believe the word you were looking for, Koopman, was pronunciation.
As CHS's own Caleb Essink leads the second heat.
We are openly rooting for Essink right now. Just going to keep that in mind for all of you. We want this to happen for him so much. Come on, Essink.
As you can hear, the crowd wants Essink too.
Come on, Caleb, bring it home, brother!
Essink runs away with it. The only thing is, we'll see if he can run away with the victory over Zeb Wilson here in the booth when they have a 3-point shooting contest here coming up in the near future.
He better not get too used to winning. I'm an eagle eye at the moment.
Steph Curry, like, right?
Yeah. You put me in the corner, I can't miss.
Except you probably have stronger ankles than Steph Curry.
That is probably accurate. My ankle's probably about the size of his thighs. So.
Zeb, you are aware that in a 3-point contest you're required to move around, not just stand in the corner.
Yep. We'll see. If I make each of my 5 shots from each of the corners, I'm all set.
All right. So there's your game plan from Zeb Wilson. Nail the corner shots, and the rest is history.
We have another heat coming up here for the boys 4x100, which just can't be good because that means we're going to have more time to talk about nothing.
Or Essink.
Okay, girls 400-meter dash. Let's preview it. I'm going to try to...
After the top of the third, Zealand West takes a 1-0 lead going into the bottom of the third.
After they're able to pick up that win from the continuation game for the Hawkeyes, probably pretty crucial as they look to try to take this as well, take both games that are being completed today. We'll see if they can find a way to get that back.
Probably to get off to a 3-0 start in conference play.
Dylan Ung at the plate for the Hawkeyes right now as this current heat is on.
And Nate's been known to have a little bit of a bias towards Dylan Ung, so he's not watching track right now. He's watching baseball.
Ung takes second pitch.
Called strike. As the runners finish up here in this third heat, we're getting ready for the girls' 400-meter dash. As we mentioned earlier, it's Lily Grant from Holland and Shea Havernick from Hamilton, both having identical times for their best on the season. So that we should have another good finish here. Hopefully as good as the field Peter's finish, but you never know.
So maybe even a little bit more intensely because you have rival teams going head-to-head, although obviously inter-team rivalries can sometimes be fiercer than those you see outside of rivalries and what you may have outside of teams sometimes.
Allegedly. All right, we're almost set here for the girls' 400-meter dash. It was Hamilton's former principal, Doug Brashler, is the starter for tonight's race.
Whistle goes off, gun goes up. And we are underway here.
Shea Haverink and Lily Grant will be in the bottom 2 lanes, I believe.
Who's winning?
Final call, boys and girls 300 hurdles. Final call, boys and girls 300 hurdles.
on the outside line.
First call, 800 meter run.
I think that's her
First
winning.
call, 800 meter run. We have results of the boys high jump. In third place, McMahon from Hamilton.
So right now it looks like what could be a solid event for Holland. They're looking to pick up second and third in this one. Hawkeyes still looking to get those points for the win.
In the lead for the Hawkeyes, a little bit of surprise here is Brittany Driesinga, followed by 4 Holland runners.
So it looks like Jason will be able to bring it home, but Holland, with taking second, third, fourth, and fifth, going to be able to pick up a couple points through those means here. So as you mentioned, maybe a bit of a surprise. Hawkeye still be able to take the W, but may not all the points they would have wanted necessarily.
So now with that, unofficial scoring is 21-39 with the Hawkeyes in the lead and the girls. So now we move up to the 300-meter hurdles for both the boys and the girls. Starting with the boys, Hamilton has obviously without their top runner, Dams, so far this season, but Hamilton is still slated to be 1, 2, 3.
So another heat, as you can see, getting underway here, or was about to get underway as we've got a false start, but another heat for the girls 400 underway there as we now move into, as you mentioned, the 300-meter hurdles. DeYoung, Blood, and Lane all expected to put up solid performances for the Hawkeyes. Gabe Brockington for Holland, maybe able to slip in there, maybe in front of Lane possibly, but another event that the Hawkeyes probably will be expecting to take something in.
Interesting note for the Hawkeyes, Trevor Blood had never run hurdles 2 weeks ago, but a week ago from this past Monday, he was asked to start taking up the hurdles, and he was moved in the hurdle lineup last Thursday and was Hamilton's best hurdler that day. So he's obviously got a lot of room for improvement. So hopefully he continues to improve.
So this race here, this heat finishing up as we are continuing to look forward on the girls' side, 300-meter hurdles. Once again, Jenica Schaefer, when it comes to her hurdles, typically expected to take the victory for the Hawkeyes. Caitlin Harper probably going to slip in next. Allison Riley for the Dutch can put up some strong performances, and she'll be neck and neck most likely with Audrey Freihoff as they'll fight for that third spot.
Yeah, Audrey is another one of the Freihoff. She's a little bit different style athlete than her two other sisters, more versatile in the sprinting and more short distance range.
Freihoff 2.0, if you would, compared to the first two.
Could we get some help with the hurdles, please? We need the hurdles on the
Right, so the 300-meter hurdles will start in the back corner of the track and make their way 3/4 of the way around the track to the finish line.
From the bottom. Can we get some help with the hurdles, please?
Right, as we now have the hurdles team setting up the hurdles for 300 hurdles here.
So all around, kind of an interesting meet so far tonight that we've seen. What are some of your just general takeaways? I'm now going to turn on you. What are just some of your general takeaways that you've had so far tonight, Ben, kind of watching this on both sides?
Well, Hamilton's had a pretty good performance so far today. A little bit better than we were all expecting out of them. But that being said, the rest of the meet isn't that favorable. So hopefully Hamilton is able to pull off some more points. And yeah, well, so I don't know. It's been a real tower to see where Hamilton's at without Dakinga and Dams. And well, we'll just have to know that we don't have quite our best lineup today, and we'll take that by ear.
And you look at that lineup: 800 meters, 3,200 meters. I mean, those really bread and butter events, if you would, for the Hawkeyes, still coming up, and I think that should, as you mentioned, obviously that plays into their favor, as they should be able to kind of walk away with this thing.
All right, as almost all the hurdles are set up now and properly in place. And they get ready for the start here of the boys' 300-meter hurdles. In lane 1 is Trenton Lane. In lane 2, Gabe Brockington. Lane 3 is Blood. And lane 5 is Nolan DeYoung, as those are the key runners we talked about for today's race. It looks like Shulman is in lane 2. We get to the first set of hurdles here. Coach Spatz is very encouraging down that back stretch, and looks like it's going to be 1-2 Hamilton as we approach this final corner. Actually, out of nowhere comes Holland as he battles for first.
Yeah, DeYoung maybe a little slow through some of that end section, as Holland going to look to maybe try to steal one here.
Yeah, Holland finishes first, followed by 3 from Hamilton. Hamilton's top 2 hurdlers, Trevor Blood and Nolan DeYoung, both finished behind Trenton Lane. So that was a little bit of a surprise there from Hamilton, and a big pickup from Holland.
And we'll now get over Zeb Wilson. Just kind of left, and he was out talking. He talked to Matt Field about some of his performances so far tonight. What were you able to pick up from Matt?
Yeah, you can pretty much call me the sideline reporter here, but I talked to Matt Field after his performance in the 4x100 and the 400 meter dash, and he said that it really, really did take a toll on him, that he ran the 4x100 right before he ran the 400, and that's probably why his time was a little slow. He said he had an unofficial time of about 51.7, which is not sub 51, which is what he was looking for today.
As we get here in the second heat of the 300-meter hurdles for the boys.
And that's something, you look at with the different lineups, is that's obviously something that will probably have to be taken into effect going ahead with Matt, and what event they really want him in the future. Is it important to have him in that relay, or is that 400 really where they need to make sure they have him placed and where he can
which Charlie Doden has really shown early on in the season that he can basically fill in Matt's spot in the 400, so we'll definitely have to see how that goes. But Charlie also runs the 4x100, so it's a sticky situation for both of them.
But you watch that 4x100 that include both Doden and Field, and that was just, as I think I used the term nuclear option, if you would.
Absolutely dominant, yeah.
They were dominant, and that's something that will be interesting to see what sort of decision that's made going ahead. Is this a team that looks to continue to improve and kind of get that lineup the way they may want it?
All right, now they lower the hurdles for the girls 300, and set to start pretty quick now.
You'll say I would probably pay a pretty considerable amount of money to watch you, Coop, and Zeb race in a hurdles event.
I have a considerable amount of money on Ben Koopman winning that matchup.
Going back to my previous comment about my formerly 7th grade track comments, I did run the 70-meter hurdles. It was in Millsville, and I was all right. I could make it over most hurdles without falling over.
Because your legs were as long then as they are now.
But I was not that fast, so at least I can make it over the hurdles. I don't know if Zeb can do that.
I would be lucky to make it over the first hurdle, let alone all of them.
I used to 3-step them too, like Coach Pert talked about. All right, runner set here for the girls' 300-meter hurdles. as Hamilton looks to pick up some valuable points here. Hopefully finish 1, 2, 3, or at least 1, 2. With Freihoff, Schaefer, and Harper.
You can see a strong early performance from Schaefer. She came from all the way back with that staggered start, and by the turn will almost, or probably will actually have that lead by the time they just enter the turn now. Schaefer should be able to fairly comfortably take this one at this point, one would think.
It was still shaking up pretty good for the Hawkeyes with Harper in second, and it's a little hard to tell, but Freihoff looks like she's running about third right now. So as they all make it back to the same line, it goes Schaefer, Harper, Freihoff, 1, 2, 3.
Looks like the Hawkeyes should be able to take all three. We'll see if Freihoff can hang on here. That's really the only thing in doubt at this point. And Freihoff will just hang on, so the Hawkeyes able to sweep there and take all 3 points paying positions. A strong effort in the 300-meter hurdles.
Unofficial scoring now puts the meet on the girls' side 48-21, so Hamilton's starting to pull away with it here. As now we move to the 800-meter run. We just talked about Matt Field, and he's got the school record in this event, which is 1:59, which he set last year. His best time this year is only a 2:02, so a little bit off this year early on. But he should be just fine. As for Hamilton, it's Field, Connor, and Connerman, the main ones for Hamilton. For Holland, they have listed Nick Hoffman, Sam Martins, and Nick Hoffman's out. And then Nate, you can pronounce this name. I know I can't pronounce this one.
Shewitt, Gerbessier for Holland. That's some hockey knowledge hopefully coming through for me. You need to stop putting me on the spot, dude. Unless it's my job or something.
But yeah, Matt Field actually did talk about his upcoming performance in the 800.
That's actually just where I was going to go with this, is wondering how those past performances and maybe being overtired could possibly affect this.
He told me, I asked him if he had any more events left in the day, and he said he was running the 800, and I asked him how he feel he was going to do, and he said that he is dead tired right now, so we will have to see.
So if he still wins that definitely is quite the performance. I mean, that would be Duncan Keith playoffs last year for the Blackhawks type effort, playing 33 minutes a game and playing at the level he did.
The good thing for the Hawkeyes is Nick Hoffman, who last year had ran a better time than Matt by 1 second, is not in today's race. So there's a little stat pack for you.
I would say the better thing for the Hawkeyes is that they are not the Blackhawks, who are currently down 3-1 in their playoff series.
That is also a good thing, yes, Seb.
Hawkeyes are 1-1 in conference play. And luckily, the only thing they have in common with the Blackhawks is the Hawks.
And regardless how tired Matt may have been, he is still getting by everyone pretty well as he's trying to maybe find his groove here. On that inside lane, that definitely can help him. He may actually be able to still take this thing.
Again, this is a 2-lap race, so, yeah.
Field able to move his way up into second here. Still going to get the aid of the staggered start through this corner, being that he's on the inside, or has that lane advantage, I should say. It was hurt by the staggered start.
With Shewitt, looks like he's in second right now. Actually in first, as he passes Matt. Connerman for the Hawkeyes is in fourth, and with Sam Martins in third for Holland.
So, here we go. We enter the final 400 meters of this one. Matt Field right now kind of sitting back, and this may be some of that fatigue that Zeb had talked about earlier. With Field, as he definitely does not seem to have the normal speed or the normal finish that you would expect out of him this event, and I would highly doubt that we will see him, whether it's run back-to-back events like that again after watching some of the results and what's taken place.
Sam Martins is gaining on Matt Field here down the back stretch, back straightaway, if you will. As he
looks like Martins will be able to get him here, so Field
Matt.
falling back to third, and fairly surprising there. But obviously with the fatigue that Field had, maybe not surprising that way. But overall, when you look at the results, maybe not knowing circumstances, going to be a fairly surprising finish to this one.
Yeah, I would say this is much of the reason why Matt Field has not been running the 400 this season.
All right, Matt is neck and neck with Sam Martins now as he pours out his last energy, and he's starting to gain on him.
What a solid job right there by Fields. He's looking to bring this one back. And Field will be able to pick up second still. So with that fatigue and regardless, really a strong effort from Field as he's able to try to just pick up a couple valuable points there for the Hawkeyes, digging every step of the way.
And it looks like Sam Martins was able to pull off that third place finish, barely nudging out Drew Stafford, who was able to really come back almost as much as Field did to almost pass Martins. But Martins was able to hold him off.
And if you look now down at the finish line, you can see a bunch of the 800 runners panting like dogs as they just gave it their all in the 2 laps around the track.
Field especially appears to be a little worse for wear compared to where you may see him right now. That was really a strong performance there from Field, coming through in the clutch really to pick up some points there.
All right, now transitioning to the girls' 800-meter run. Hamilton has some good athletes in this, but doesn't quite have their best lineup tonight. They went with a different lineup than they do most times, with Sherilyn Zaw, Shania Tasma, and Grace Turner for Hawkeyes, along with Connor for Holland.
So Zeb, as Koopman's going to briefly leave us here, you're going to get to kind of take over and give us some of your commentary on what you're seeing so far in this race.
So far in this race, Hamilton has only the first position right now, as Holland is running in second and third currently.
So obviously, I mean, this may fall into not necessarily something that one may have expected. Obviously, Taylor Connor usually fairly quick. Shyla Thompson right along the same time as Connor on the season, but regardless, right now,
Sherilyn Zaw looks to be leading the pack in lane 1.
So we'll have to see now where this one winds up in terms of, we're looking at kind of the point totals and trying to figure that out as the night goes along. Hamilton pretty comfortably going to take the top spot, but the question is...
Oh, do remember that there is one more lap still.
Regardless, a fairly substantial lead. But the question really is, will Hamilton be able to maybe pick up that second spot, depending on where they're able to close out here?
Yep, Tomza has currently moved into the third position, but it's only by a couple body lengths.
Solid effort here from Zal. As I mentioned, she seems to be somewhat comfortably ahead in this one, as the Hawkeyes are right now hanging on to that first and third spot, and will take some decent points out of this one if they can hang on where they are. Obviously, the only question mark really is if Thompson would fall behind a step or two here in the closing stages.
But it does look like Tomza has put more distance between her and the fourth place runner, and I don't want to jump the gun, but I would say it's pretty safe, except Holland's making a push at first place right now, coming into the last turn.
And that definitely is a
Sherilyn Zahl has to turn on the burners here.
So the Zahl and Connor here looking to close this one out. Maybe the one position we thought may actually be fairly well finished off isn't, as Connor and Zahl will go neck and neck all the way down to the close in this one.
Sherilyn Zahl looks like she will take first place. Connor takes second.
We'll see Thompson be able to bring home that third place spot. So the Hawkeyes do end up taking first and third, as we maybe prematurely claimed. But regardless how it got done, the Hawkeyes are able to grab those spots and the points with that.
It appears Zeeland West Hamilton baseball is through 4 innings, and Zeeland West still leads 1-0.
Meanwhile, getting ready now is we'll start to work our way into the 200-meter dash on each side. And, you know, this is another event. You look at Charlie Doden on the boys' side. Probably should be expected to win things here. He's first in the OK green. Then a pretty tight race between Trenton Peters and Shaman Chanel coming after there for second and third. So in terms of trying to grab that second or third position, therefore, that's really where the race should be, although we've seen a couple of surprises so far throughout different events tonight, so nothing a sure thing, but one could expect Doden here, who has a 23.14, best on the year, then Peters with 23.6, and Chanel at 23.44.
And I don't think you can count out Quinn Kamelhoon in this one. He's not far behind, running a 23.84.
So here we go. In just a second, we'll get that staggered start underway, and we will get the boys' 200-meter dash going here. So here we go. Each side now lined up, and in just a minute, we will see the starter work his way out. Gun will go up, and we will get underway with the 200-meter dash. So the gun is up now. And we are underway here. You mentioned Quinn Kielman-Kuhn maybe being able to make a run. He's really coming out strong.
It looks like Charlie Doden's in second. Sermon just able to pull it off, and
Shaman Chanel able to race ahead of Doden there at the end. Peters will bring it in third, but the Dutch able to pick up a win there. So once again, I may have mentioned that Doden should be expected to take this one. Strong push there from Shaman Chanel for the Dutch, and he's able to pick up the win here in the 200 meters. So after this, we are starting to slowly reach the end of today's events. Hawkeyes right now still in a tight battle, especially on the boys' side of things. On the girls' side of things, they've pretty well pulled away. But definitely need to try to pick up some crucial points as we near the end of this thing. Second heat here for the boys 200, just about to get underway.
And don't forget, when you say nearing the end of things, we still have the 3,200 meter run.
Right.
That comes after the 200 meter dash.
So there we have a 10-minute plus event.
Yep.
So still a lot of action coming your way here as the Hawkeyes look to close out strong. And Adam Everts able to pick up the win here in this second heat here. And moving in now, we'll kind of look at the girls. You look at Dornock for the Maroons, really the favorite here. She has a 27.5 on the year. Autumn Hancock second for the Hawkeyes, probably going to be the closest competitor. Her best is a 28.3. Sophie Pohl in there as well. So this is another event. Hamilton maybe kind of has some of that depth, but a quick runner for Holland. Going to look to maybe get in there, steal a point or two at the top.
so updated unofficial scoring now is on the boys' side of things is Hamilton 57, Holland 39. That's through the 300-meter hurdles with all the field events except pole vault. So now with the 200 meter dash and the 800 meter run, it's a little bit closer than that. But on the girls' side of things, it's 75-21. So that's through all field events besides pole vault and everything through the 300 hurdles.
So going ahead here, the girls 200 meter dash coming up, and this is an event that Holland, you look at Dornoch, probably is going to pretty comfortably be able to take this one. Just kind of look at her season and the way she's been able to perform. Autumn Hancock second, but really anything can happen when everyone's running fast. There's a lot of close competitors in there. Dreesinger and Ruff kind of in that 4th and 5th spot, typically between these runners. So really what could be a fairly interesting meet going, or event coming up here in just a moment, or a couple moments here for the girls, as we still have another boys heat coming up for their 200.
Going ahead for the track teams, this Saturday they have the Wyoming Relays, which is a little bit different event than most track meets. So that'll be interesting. They have some different events that most track meets don't have, and it's kind of a cool thing for some track leagues to have a little bit different style of running there.
So at some point here, I think we'll be able to get this next heat underway, and we can continue on. I'm not quite sure. I couldn't tell you what the holdup may be.
Looks like Brasher's having a little problem with the gun.
We've been having issues with that all day long. It's been our main holdup, really, it seems.
And we do have word that the gun was giving them problems at the middle school track meet last night as well.
Oh boy.
Guns are hard to buy these days with all the restrictions.
Here you go, Hamilton Bond 2016. Make sure you pass it so we can buy new guns for the track meets.
More importantly for a new track, but
Okay, that may be a little bit more important part to it. We're not lobbying either way for it, though. So do not think that CHS is biased.
But your taxes will not be raised.
So this final heat, Vincent Wynn able to run away with it for the Hawkeyes, as we will now get ready for the next heat that will follow here. A lot of 200 runners.
yes, Coach Spots likes to run a lot of expedition 200 runners. Just get some of his field event people to be able to run a race. That's usually because usually at this point that most of the field events are done. They can just get one race in just so they give them a little more exercise.
What my esteemed colleague meant to say was the word exhibition events, not expedition events. Two different things going on there.
Sorry, I was just watching Dylan Unk score on the baseball diamond as Hamilton now takes a 4-3 lead.
Is it? Okay. 2-1.
2-1.
2-1. I was looking at the hits column. My bad.
This whole thing really has gone off the rails.
Here's the third heat of the boys.
Fourth heat. This is the fourth heat. So once again, we'll get underway here. Set for this fourth heat. Gun goes off, and we will get yet another 200-meter heat underway. But if you were worried, we do have another one coming up after this.
In case you really like that 200 meters.
In the varsity, if you can remember what happened in the varsity heat, it was the Dutch that were able to take the W and a couple points there, as they look to close down that lead that Hamilton's been able to build up at this point, as both the boys and girls seem to be somewhat comfortably now on their way to taking this thing.
After this, we have the 200 meter dash for girls, which Nate's previewed like 5 times, but there's so many events of 200 meter guys hurdles that we can re-preview it now. So Holland's supposed to get first, and Hamilton's supposed to get second and third without Hancock and Sylvie Poole, and then Brittany Dreesinger probably finishing fourth.
So thank you if you are still with us for listening to Covering Hawkeye Sports coverage of boys and girls track, Hamilton boys and girls track here. I really do thank you if you actually are still with us, because I probably would have shut us off about 45 minutes ago with the way this has gone. Really good track action going on. We just have been absolutely not great for you. But if you can, maybe you can mute us. If that's what you want to do, you can just put us on mute and watch the pictures roll in of what's happening tonight. That's cool. Or if you, for some reason, want to listen to us, although it's probably just going to be Koopman and I listening back to this at this point, you can definitely stand. We've got still some interesting events coming up. Obviously, still have the girls 200 meter. We have the 3200 on each side, and then we have the 4x400 to round things off on the evening.
As I mentioned earlier, the 4x400 team for Hamilton is ranked number 1 in the state.
And finally, we will get to our final boys heat for the 200, and we will see the girls step in, and we will look to get the girls varsity 200 underway. So as this heat will finally round up, or finish up, we will now get ready here for the girls to take over in their 200 meter dash, and we'll see if the Dutch are able to take an event that they are expected most likely to take, or if the Hawkeyes will be able to give them some trouble here. Autumn Hancock obviously going to be the closest, based on the season, to being able to contend here.
Final call for the 3200 meter run. Final call, 3200 meter run. First call, 1600 meter relay. First call, 1600 meter relay.
Alright, runners set here for the first heat of the girls 200 meter dash. Guns up. Runners set. Runners set.
We are finally underway with the girls 200 here. And we mentioned this probably being an event that Dornoch was expected to be able to run away with for the Dutch. And she's able to take a pretty good lead. We'll see. That gap will not be closed down. So the Dutch going to be able to take this event.
Finishing 1 and 3.
So really a solid effort there out of the Dutch. Hawkeyes only able to steal a second place in terms of the points paying positions. With Sophie Pohl taking that second spot. And we'll get ready for another exhibition here of the girls 200, which is obviously an incredibly popular event.
Not quite as popular as the boys 200 meters, which even more people want to run.
I would hate to run 200 meters. I mean, it's kind of long still. You have to run quite a ways, for me at least.
In middle school, I used to run the 50-meter dash. That was the perfect distance for me.
That does seem about the perfect. And, I mean, your skills on the basketball court really do show your outright speed and acceleration and why that event was right for you.
Exactly.
Ben Koopman, hardest working player in the OK Green. All conference at the 5 spot.
Thank you, guys. It's a true honor to be applauded by you guys.
If you listen closely, you can hear Dreyer getting a little choked up.
So the next 200 meter heat for the girls.
He's probably just upset he will not be able to say Ben Koopman's name in another basketball announcement.
This event is underway. We'll get to finish off this heat in a moment. I'm just going to completely brush away any comments Zeb may make tonight.
Alright, so if you want to change the subject, moving on to the boys 2-mile race, or the 3200 meter run. It's a very, very high-profile race in the OK Green. Mark Freihoff is ranked first in the OK Green. He also has a school record at 9:32. Sam Martins is ranked second in the OK Green. Luke Coleman's ranked third in the OK Green, and Caleb Topp from Hamilton is also ranked sixth. So we got 4 top 6 runners in the OK Green in the 3200 guys race. So that's going to be a pretty good finish. On the girls' side of things, they got Erica Freihoff holding the school record at 11:02, and Audrey Freihoff right behind her And then Sherlyn Zoll from Hamilton, ranked 3rd for today. And Holland really has no one anywhere close to those times. Alright, here we go on the final heat of the girls 200 meters.
Hey, there's Brad Osborne from Varsity Basketball.
As they round the final corner here, Hamilton's exchange student, Nina, will finish first.
Kim Sigma did make a little bit of a push there at the end, but Nina was able to hold her off.
Baseball update. We move into the bottom of the 6th inning, tied 1-1. Hamilton up at the plate.
There's a bit of a lull in the action as the runners prepare for the 3,200 meter run. And I hope you are as excited as we are to listen to us for the next 10 minutes. Tell you what is happening in this event.
In one of it. This is an 8-lap race. And there's a lot of lapping that takes place here. So it's going to be a little bit confusing to watch. So that's why we have me here to explain it. This is an event that boys and girls are going to run together.
What?
With the guys on the mix with the girls and the JV on the far outside. This is the second to last event here at Hawkeye Stadium for tonight, followed by the 4x4 relay featuring Hamilton's top ranked team, relay team.
Is that top in the conference or top in the state?
Top in the state and top in the conference.
Right.
Interesting.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, not only were they top in the state, they were also top in the conference. All right, so we got Mark Fryoff taking a good lead here after turn 1. So he looks to hold off Sam Martins like he did in the 100. I know the 1 mile earlier tonight. Also for Hamilton, Luke Koopman and Caleb Top will look to finish 3-4 or 4-3 as they approach turn number 3. Mark really getting a pretty good lead here. We'll know more after the staggered start is made up for after this corner. Sam Martins in 2nd, Caleb Top in 3rd, and Luke Koopman in 4th. As they come down the stretch here, and
Come on, Mark!
Mark takes
Caleb!
has 1 lap led.
Caleb Top is actually catching Sam Martins here. They're just strides apart.
So as I'm rejoining the broadcast here, looking into this event, and obviously Mark Fryoff running away, if you kind of look at it, is this a typical, mostly for you, Ben, is this a typical way that you'll see this race go with Top maybe gaining the early advantage on Koopman and then Koopman may be able to reel him back in? Or what's kind of the general flow that we should look for throughout the next 10 minutes or so?
Well, I'm glad you caught yourself there. But yes, Caleb goes out a little stronger than Luke on most nights, and Luke he tends to always run the exact same lap time. He really doesn't tail off. He always checks that watch as much as he can, and he always finishes on that lap time almost to the exact mark every time. So he probably won't tail off like some of the other runners might.
Meanwhile, Erica Freihoff is at this point fairly easily making her way through a lot of the boys' field, helping maybe show that speed and that ability that she has, and maybe why we haven't seen the girls and boys always run together. As we're seeing Martins kind of hang somewhat tight with Freihoff early, and Freihoff not able to gain that full advantage you would expect possibly out of him in this 3,200.
With 6 laps to go, now with 4 runners passing that mark, and Luke is starting to gain on Caleb as Caleb's starting to tail off here.
And you look at Freihoff, typically he has the school record for this event, but Freihoff, the 9:32 is his mark. Martin's usually about 20 seconds off that mark, just kind of to see where one could expect the Hawkeyes to be, or where Freihoff you should expect him to be.
We all talked about the sibling bond that the Freihoffs have, but you can really see the rivalry they still have. When Mark approaches later in this race, he'll approach the nearly lapping his sister. I was at the meet last week, Thursday, and when he caught up to his sister, the lapper, all of a sudden Mark took off and sprinted past her, and then slowed back down. So Mark does have a little bit of competitive juice in him, and isn't afraid to kind of rub it in his sister's face from time to time. But it's all out of sibling love.
He also is pretty clearly starting to stretch the gap at this point in time over Martins, and should be pretty comfortable. Meanwhile, we've got a bit of a race on our hands between
Battle for
Koopman
third
and Top, as Koopman's going to look to gain here as they head off. 5 to go for these two as they head off into the first turn.
Now down the back straightaway, Mark Freihoff continues his nearly 60-meter advantage over Sam Martins. Sam Martins was also all-conference in cross-country this year, so like I said earlier, they know each other, and they both know what to expect.
And on the girls' side of things, Erica Freihoff is well ahead, as one would expect. She able to hold a pretty significant advantage right now over her sister Audrey, and those things, at least the top 2 positions there,
90-meter gap.
Those that seems fairly well tied up between those two at this point in time. Still a long way to go. A lot can still happen, and 5+ laps of competition. But Mark Freihoff now already starting to work on quite a bit of lap traffic, as he's working his way by 4 to go.
4 to go now.
You see Nate's racing background really coming back, as he just called it lap traffic.
Well, yeah, lap traffic kind of from time to time it slows you down a little bit. You got to keep making a couple moves, try to get around them, and that can sometimes let some of the other runners catch back up to you. But Sam Martins is not catching up to Freihoff on a night like tonight.
Meanwhile, one of the key battles to watch right now is the one we talked about between Top and Koopman. Is AD Jerry Haggerty has the gator on the track right now.
Maybe that's why the track's so messed up these days.
Meanwhile, so Caleb Top with that lead right now over Koopman. Koopman trying to get him through the second turn here and going around the outside as they exit off the second.
And you just saw Koopman check his watch as he's coming up on top there.
I don't lie.
And now we will see Koopman on the outside trying to stretch that lead coming out of the corner. Got some better bite off the corner, and he's going to be able to look to stretch that advantage down the straight.
He really found that racing groove down in the corner there, and it was really able to ride it around the second corner.
Meanwhile, Mark Freihoff getting by his sister Audrey fairly easily there. He'll now set his sights on Erica. That's really one of the few battles that we're still looking at this point in time in this race. Well, that and obviously the Top Koopman battle that we've got going on the other side of things. It is Koopman just right now with that advantage over Top.
Now Mark pulling his lead out to about 90 meters on Sam Martins. Luke now leads by about a horse length down in here and on the front straightaway as they approach 3 to go. It'll be green, white, checkered.
And here comes Top now with a bit of an advantage. He looks to head into the corner and maybe get his way back by Koopman. Mark Freihoff continues to lead his event fairly significantly right now, as he continues to also work his way through some lap traffic.
As he'll take the green flag with 2 to go. Green, white, checkered. Here we go.
Okay. What just another solid effort. I mean, you look at Freihoff holding the Hamilton record, school record for this event, and this just is kind of the sort of dominance that one would pretty consistently at this point expect out of him. Freihoff obviously beating Martins by 20 seconds on average in this event. He may end up pulling out a bigger victory than that today, depending on the way things will close out here. Just a strong effort all around for Freihoff. Also, the same can be said for Erica Freihoff. She's pulling away from her sister Audrey. So, Freihoff domination in the ultimate distance event. Here, as Koopman's lead over top has also increased as they get ready to cross the line and work their way off here. And you look at on the year, Koopman about 10 seconds or 9 seconds faster than Caleb Top. And that time really being seen right now. See if Koopman will quite be able to reach that, or if we see Top may be able to close the gap from where we typically may see it.
Well, Top kind of got off to a rough start this year. He had some times last year that were a little bit better than Luke's times early on this year. So you hear that gun, and that's Mark now on his final lap, taking the white flag.
I mean, we've got other runners that still have 3 laps, 2.5 laps easy to go. Freihoff is just absolutely running away with this thing. Meanwhile, the same can be said right now for Luke Koopman, who pretty significantly has that second place marker right now.
Here, Mark approaches, lapping his sister. See if he got a little bit extra in the tank here.
So this was really the main thing we talked about, was just that battle between Erica and Mark, and if Mark was able to lap Erica in the sort of push he may show in that situation.
We have breaking news. I just talked to Coach Pertner in the next booth, and he says Erica Freihoff could break the school record here of 11:02. She had to run, I believe, 2:40 over 2 laps to do it.
So that was CHS advisor Mark Banky bringing in that pretty crucial stat. We'll see where Erica will wind up. We'll get news later on where that number exactly comes. So now maybe that extra push from Mark catching her could become pretty key.
And then you keep Mark out there for an extra lap just to run with her. As Mark takes home the checkered flag and finishes well over 100 meters ahead of his competition, Martins.
Now all eyes do turn to Erica Freihoff as she looks to finish things out here and see if that record may actually be in her sights. Has to have a strong finish to things.
Yeah, and we mentioned earlier that that Caleb went out way faster than Koopman did, and he might have gone out a little too fast. Now Koopman holding almost a 100-meter lead over him.
Meanwhile, Sam Martins just crossed the line for second place behind Freihoff, who turned in one of his more dominant efforts we've seen this year.
So tonight in the boys 3200 went Mark, 100 meters, Sam Martins, 100 meters, Luke Koopman, 100 meters, and Caleb Top. The way it looks like he's going to finish here, as Luke finishes just now.
But as I mentioned earlier, all eyes really on Erica Freihoff right now. She's working her way around on her final turns here, and she will now look maybe to have her sights set on that school record. And as I said, as soon as we can get those numbers to you, we will get them on if she's able to break that mark.
Truly, all eyes are on Coach Pertner right now, because if she breaks her school record, watching him will be the way to know.
He looks disappointed.
It looks like she didn't quite beat her mark based on Coach's reaction.
But close and obviously still a great performance, and she continues to maybe work towards peaking. One would think that would be a good sign maybe for the rest of the year, that there may be a stronger finish yet still coming in her, and that school record most likely is hers in this event at some point. We will see Freihoff displayed for the record holders in the 3200 here at Hamilton.
Well, Freihoff is already on there, but she just wants to re-break her record.
Yes, that's...
Because, you got to set the bar higher.
Right.
You got to get better every day.
That's all that's really left to do among the Freihoffs, it seems, at this point in time at Hamilton. So a solid effort for the Hawkeyes. The girls going to be able to sweep those top 3 spots. On the boys' side of things, Sam Martin's able to slip into second for the Dutch, but besides that, Freihoff in first and Koopman in third, able to score points for the Hawkeyes.
Baseball update midway through the top of the seventh. Zealand was able to pick up 2 runs, and they now lead 3-1. As now scoreboard is shut off. As we wait for last couple of runners to finish here. Now we're going to preview the 4x4 meter relay on the boys side of things. We have Doden, Lane, DeCam, and Peters. Field usually runs his event, but obviously with him running a couple different events than he usually does, they pulled him from that and put Lane in. So it's not the full #1 ranked team in the state tonight, but they should be able to beat Holland as they are seated about 9 seconds ahead of them.
And to maybe confirm that exhaustion you talked about with Matt, I kind of took my quick break from the broadcast a few minutes ago. I did talk to Matt, and he definitely, that's about as tired as I've probably ever seen him. And you could tell he was still trying to recover from that full effort that he had to give in those multiple events. And
especially after that 800, he had to have been whipped.
So we will finish things off here in this 3200, and as Ben mentioned, we will get underway with the boys 4x400 meter relay in just a minute. This is the #1 ranked unit in the state. Their top time coming with Matt Field, but Lane in instead tonight. We'll see how that may affect things.
Well, also on Holland's side, Nick Hoffman's usually in their lineup, and as we mentioned earlier, he's at a theater event tonight instead, so he's not in the lineup.
So look at each side missing, their kind of their top runner in that event. So typically you would expect therefore things should even out, and we will see where things go from here.
And on the girls' side of things, Hamilton has a team of Emily Woodkey, Shay Havernick, Brittany Driesinga, and Erica Freihoff. Erica Freihoff running the last leg, so she get a little bit of time to recover here after this event. So they're ranked about 7 seconds ahead of Holland's team. So it should be a pretty good race down the stretch.
So final event for each side coming up here in just a few minutes here on Covering Hawkeye Sports. Nate Dreyer, Ben Koopman, Zeb Wilson, and also we've heard from advisor Mark Benke so far tonight. A lot of excitement, a really interesting meet all around. We saw Holland able to kind of steal a couple events, steal some positions that one may have not expected them to be able to take early. But we've seen Hamilton so far, or after that I should say, really be able to settle things out. And Hawkeyes have taken a pretty commanding, what will be a victory here.
We have the fourth and final call for the 1600 relay.
So in just a moment after that 3200 meter, we are now going to be joined by Caleb Topp and Luke Koopman. And guys, you can step over by the mic here because I'm just going to ask you a couple questions. You just finished it off, and Luke, you got the better of Caleb. Can you kind of speak what went into your performance tonight as you were able to edge out your good friend?
We're not talking about the infographics either.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh boy, that must have stung.
He went 2 for 2 on me today.
Well, how'd you do it?
I don't know, I started slow and then started picking it up at the end. And 5 seconds off a PR, but still a good day.
Now I know you guys are both in the stats, so more of a general question on the team. How are you guys performing today? You happy with your guys' performance, or you think you guys could have done a lot better?
I think we had some great performances. Trent Peters had a big PR by about a half second in the 400. And our 4x100 time was by far the best in the year by over a second, and we're looking really good right there.
Yeah, we are. The score is definitely in our favor right now. And back to Trent Peters, he just killed it today. He definitely set himself up to be within the top 3 in the conference standings for the 400 meter run. So the combination of Matt, Trenton, and Charlie, they're more than likely going to be sitting 1, 2, 3 in the standings right now. So that's great going into the final week of dual meets.
Okay, guys, thanks for joining us. Go cool down or something. You guys seem tired. That doesn't seem worth it to run 3,200 meters like that. Seriously.
We take some crazy people.
I guess. Holy cow. So thanks to Caleb Topp and Luke Koopman for that quick interview as they look back on the longest event of the day.
And it's not just because they're slow; it's just because they had to run farther.
Yeah, that's what it was. If it were me, it would be really bad. We'd be taking like 40 minutes.
Oh, there's Nate on lap 4.
I'd be puking after the first half lap.
No, I actually just don't do this because I would just embarrass people because I'm the most athletic person I know. I could do every event without question just consecutively and probably place top 1 or 2 easily.
And this is Nate's egotistical again, and well, he is faster than everybody he knows because he doesn't have a lot of friends.
That's right. So that's kind of how it works out. I am faster than everyone. I know you, so
You got one.
that's one that I'm faster than. And you're an all-conference basketball player, so that makes me just feel great about myself. So clearly I could do anything. As we have the Blackhawks theme song once again playing tonight to signify my love for the Hawks as they are down 3-1 and needing to win this game tonight without Andrew Shaw and with some shifted lines.
Shout out to my Red Wings as they look to do the same over the Lightning.
Okay, 4x400 meter relay is going to be coming up here. We're on the starting blocks. We have actual events now to cover. So here we go. Those set, and the relay will get underway in just a minute here. The gun is up, and we are underway. 4x400 meter relay taking off here. And this is an event, only one team being put out by the Dutch, and they are quickly being overtaken on all sides by Hamilton. Even the JV units right now ahead until eventually we'll see Holland really pick up the pace, and this should be a fairly interesting matchup really in a lot of ways, although Nick Hoffman not being in tonight will make a interesting question mark for the Dutch, in the same way that Matt Field being out of this event kind of changes things possibly for this top-ranked unit that the Hawkeyes will send out.
Well, Hamilton obviously starting with their top runner here, Charlie Doden in this event. So that was a good start for them.
And early on, Doden is able to take a bit of an advantage.
Now Trenton Lane, he's the new one into this event. He currently seated with the worst time, so this could be a little chance for Holland to catch up, but it's not looking like that so far.
And obviously some fairly significant shoes to fill for Lane, stepping in for Matt Field, but regardless, he has definitely been able to stretch that lead early, and it's looking pretty good to say the least for the Hawkeyes. So Lane holding that advantage outright right now.
It'll be interesting to see how Erica Freihoff holds up in the 4x400 for the girls after she just got done running the 3,200 meter.
As Lane looking to bring it in here, some excitement out of the crowd as he's looking to finish strong. And a bit of a shaky handoff, but he's able to get off to Peters, who will race off into the first turn and really turn on the Jets. And that gap now completely gone, as it looks like the Hawkeyes should be able to, not necessarily comfortably at this point, anything can happen, but Hawkeyes now fairly comfortably regardless ahead, as Peters is absolutely racing away with this one.
You now see some track teams celebrating their dominance tonight with flying the pirate flags over the field, running around as Caleb Toppin and Luke Cohen, who just joined us, are. Pirate is their theme this year, a little bit interesting. They always have something fun and entertaining here at the track program.
I was going to say, yeah, theme mascot, although they already have a mascot, so I guess they're just the Hawkeye Pirates this year. The Pirate Hawkeyes.
Now we hand to Everest, too. That was a little bit of a surprise here. Yeah. Instead of the Cam, so... but he looks like he's got no problem.
And regardless, Everest is going to look to run away with this one, and only an incredibly strong finish could possibly affect this thing at this point in time. And Everest, now that gap has kind of stabilized itself, as it looks like Adam Everest should be able to bring things home. The Hawkeyes will pick up a win here in the final boys event of the evening.
Yeah, a pretty big win here in a relay. You usually don't see someone winning this relay by more than 50 meters, and Hamilton really got that even without their fastest team out there.
So Everest will officially bring it in here, and the boys will be able to pick up a win on the evening tonight over the Dutch. A solid effort. I mean, it was pretty much in the cards regardless going into this event, but a strong win in the 4x400 meter relay will seal things tonight for the Hamilton boys. Just the girls 4x4 remaining on the night. So final group finishing out here. And now we go into the girls 4x400 here, Ben, and you look at this event, you look at the Hawkeyes, and obviously another strong team that the Hawkeyes are able to put out. Right now, 432 to 439, the best Hamilton versus Holland, respectively there. So
just into the newsroom here, girls softball won 8-5 over Zeeland West today. That was a big win for them after dropping both their games earlier this week.
So yeah, definitely a strong win over a pretty solid Zeeland West team, to say the least. Boys trying to do the same right now, trying to dig themselves out of a 3-1 hole that they're in. So we'll see if they're able to do the same. Final event of the night, we're getting lining the girls up for the final time here as we will get this 4x400 meter relay underway, and the Hamilton girls look to just put an exclamation point on what will be a solid win for them this evening. And with that, I talked about the baseball team trying to maybe pick up a win, but with that, they just fell to the Ducks. 3-1, the final there. So the softball team able to pick up a win. The boys on the baseball side of things unable to do so, as each track team looks like they'll also be easily on their way. Just the final formality of the girls 4x400 meter relay to close things out here tonight. Each side working their way out here. We will now get this 4x400 meter underway for the girls in just a moment, I promise you. And quite a few runners in here for the Dutch. They are going to look to bring out a pretty strong presence for this one. So we look at the strong performance overall. We'll get that final score. Hamilton 84, Holland 53, the final on the boys' side of things in the meet tonight. So a strong victory in the end for the Hawkeyes. The whistle goes, and we will in just a minute here look to get underway with the 4x4 after we have some of the athletes cleared.
And like I said, it should be interesting to see Erica Fryhoff's performance, as she's going to be anchoring this 4x400 relay for the girls.
Here we go, gun is in the air, and we are underway with the final event on either side of the night here on CoverHawkSports.com. And Zeb, you kind of look at this event. What are some of the things you may be expecting to see out of this Hamilton team?
In this event specifically?
Yes, this event, this specifically looking at it.
Well, I mean, specifically looking at this event and looking at how the race is going thus far, I would say we are looking for a win.
Thank you for the insight, Mr. Wilson.
Anything I can do to help.
Obviously, the key part of it, here's Emily Woodkey starts things off. Just making sure, you can probably now continue that strong start that each side, or that the Hamilton side seems to be off to. As Woodkey now will look to bring it along across the line in just a moment.
She will be handing it off to Shay Haverdink.
Haverdink able to pick that one up, and that substantial lead will just look to continue to grow here as the Hawkeyes look to pick up one more dominant win on the evening. Haverdink looking to finally pull away with things here and pick up what would be a big win for the Hawkeyes, just closing out the night, trying to put an exclamation point on what has been a really strong performance since the start. The Hawkeyes have had the edge in this one. Havernick working her way through the third and fourth turns of her lap here, and looking at just turning that strong 400 performance to help add to what is now a big lead for the Hawkeyes, and one would think they should be able to finish out strong here. So here is Havernick now. She'll work her way down that front stretch. And look to hand this one off to Driesinga. Freihoff will be anchoring things. And you see, obviously, it's been a dominant performance, to say the least, on the girls' side of things so far tonight. And regardless of what happens here, I will say definitively that the girls will be able to pick up the win tonight. As we see Driesinga also looking, just continuing to stretch that lead, just bringing things in. Driesinga working her way on to the final straight here. She'll in just a moment hand off to Erica Freihoff, who will look to make her final performance of the night. On what was a strong night for Freihoff, almost able to reset the school record in the 3200, just fell shy of that mark, and will now start her final 400 of the night right here for the Hawkeyes.
Change the score right to that final score. Yeah.
So Freihoff now taking off, and she's doing a pretty good job of expanding upon that lead that Hamilton's built up.
Yeah, I don't think she gets tired that easily.
It doesn't seem like it. It seems like nothing phases her and nothing can really slow her down at any point in the night. Just finished off one of the longest, most grueling races of the day in the 3200. Goes right out, runs the anchor leg of this event, and looks like she'll be able to close things out and add one more Hamilton victory to the night. So Freihoff on to the final straight here, and she'll look to just close things out now. Yeah, another strong finish for the Hawkeyes, and for Freihoff, they're able to dominate this one, and the girls take one last win to add to what was a strong win overall on the evening. They were able really to dominate from the start. Thanks for joining us on Covering Hawkeye Sports. Really strong effort all around on both sides of things. The boys dominant, the girls dominant here tonight over the Dutch. As you can see, the final score for the girls, 112-25. Thank you. Thank you once again for joining us here on CoverHawkSports.com. For Zeb Wilson, Ben Koopman, advisor Mark Benke, I'm Nate Dreyer signing off. We'll see you next time.